Hey everyone, today I'm going to be talking about betta fish care and health. If you're tuning into this video, you're probably wondering a little bit about what do I need to care for my betta fish properly. Maybe you already have a betta fish and you're just kind of checking out some YouTube videos. But either way, I just kind of hope that this video is informative for you. And I can start by going ahead and introducing everyone to my betta fish. This is Americus Rigby Nation. That is his full name. I just call him Americus. He's very patriotic. He's red, white, and blue. I got him at a local Petco. His name comes from just me and a friend hanging out, and she thought he needed a really awesome patriotic name, and so that's what it came to. And so he's going to be doing a little bit of fish modeling for us. You know, he's going to be the entertainment portion of the video. Right now he's kind of hiding, but he swims around a lot, so hopefully he'll be entertaining for you guys. Okay, so let's dive in. I just kind of segmented everything into questions to kind of help move this along. So the first question is, what size tank do I need for my betta? I would say no less than 5 gallons, and here's why. So betta fish originate from Thailand. That's where they're from. They have their ancestors are native to Thailand. They actually, there's betta fish currently right now in Thailand, like natural betta fish you find in the wild, in these things called rice paddies. If you don't know what rice paddies are, it would be really great to just Google it. You can see a picture of a rice paddy, or I could probably put one in. I don't know. We'll see. But so these rice paddies can actually go for miles and be up to feet deep. Some rice paddies can be. So bettas are actually used to living in quite a large area of water, not like some half-gallon puddle that is just on the side of the road kind of thing. That's not really what they're used to. So that's why I say that bettas need at least 5 gallons, because it's good space for them. If you're going to get a rectangular tank, that would probably be best, because bettas are used to swimming like side to side, you know, back and forth rather than up and down, because the puddles the rice paddies are more shallow, and so that's just kind of how they're used to swimming. That's the one thing I don't really like about this tank. It's a bow front tank, so if I had to do it over, I'd definitely go with something more rectangular. But alright, question 2. Do bettas need filtration and a heater? Yes to both. Bettas do definitely need heat. They are from Thailand, like we said, so that means that they're tropical fish, because Thailand has a tropical climate. I keep Americus's water about 82 degrees. I just got a little preset heater that I bought at PetSmart and put it in the tank, and I just plug it in and it automatically sets everything to about 82 degrees. So just get one of those. They're not very expensive. They're probably like $10 tops. If you pay over $20 for a heater for like a 5-gallon tank, you're paying way too much. And then filtration, that's a definite yes, just because you don't want your fish swimming in a bunch of filth. Some people think that, well, if they're native to these rice paddies, which are basically kind of like muddy puddles, they're really not that muddy. Bettas still need a better life, I guess you want to say. I don't know why you would take a fish out of its natural habitat and put it into something that's kind of like worse than its natural habitat. If you're going to put a betta fish in a new home, put him in something a little bit nicer, so at least you're not depriving him of anything. And you want a clean, healthy fish, and that's one way to keep your fish clean and healthy, to keep the water really clear. It works for your fish, it works for you, it's pretty, and your betta's healthy. Okay, question 3. What sort of decor do bettas need, if any? I do want to say bettas do need decor. They're actually very intelligent fish. You can do a lot of research and see that people have trained them to jump through hoops, do various tricks. They can even recognize their owners. So, like for example, anytime I go up to feed Americus, he always does a little dance just for me. Like if I send one of my friends up to the tank, he just doesn't really respond to them. He knows who I am, and he always begs me for food. So it's really cool how he can spot me out of a crowd. But with that said, since they are so intelligent, that means that they get bored easy. So bettas need things to do. They need things to hide in. That's when they feel really, really safe. And when you give a betta like a hideaway or some plants, something to kind of hide in, they're going to feel more at ease to explore the tank and come out and I guess socialize a little bit more, maybe like with you and just the rest of the tank, because they know the moment they're in danger they can go right back to a hideaway. So the best things to hide, or I guess the best things to put in the tank with your betta are more natural things. For example, I have plants in there. They are live plants, but you don't have to get live plants. Live plants can be really difficult to take care of. For example, I just want to say that this whole entire tank used to be planted, but I don't really know what I'm doing with live plants, so a lot of it died, and I'm just going to have to do more research on that. But fake plants are perfectly fine. Just don't get the plastic ones, because betta fish have very delicate fins, so if a betta kind of rubs across one of the plastic leaves of a plastic plant, it can rip his fin. So just stick with something a little bit more silky, or get live plants, or just make sure you do your research on that. They can be very expensive and time consuming. And make sure he has a little hideaway. Bettas love to rest on leaves. They love to hide and go in between the leaves and go and use their hideaway. So yeah, that's going to be really important. Alright, what's next? Question 4, what kind of fish can I house with bettas? So I guess you guys have noticed that I do have 3 small fish in there with Americas. These guys are called neon tetras. I got them at PetSmart. They're community fish, and they only require like 1 gallon of water. That's what the PetSmart people said. So you want to find something that's really small. You also want to make sure if you mix a betta with anything that you're mixing them with other tropical fish, because bettas are tropical. You don't want to mix a cold water fish with a hot water fish, because that doesn't work. So make sure they're tropical fish. Make sure they're small, maybe little small community fish. You don't want anything that's going to pose a threat to your betta, so you don't want another betta, even if it's a female. That's still a no-no. You don't want a fish that's kind of the size of your betta that's going to intimidate the betta, or just make him feel threatened, really, and he's probably going to attack. So just make sure it's something really, really small. Okay, and you can always do your research further on that too, but neon tetras I would just recommend. They're really pretty. They've got that blue and red, which kind of matches America's pretty well, so they're great. Alright, question 5, what kind of food do I feed my betta? So this is a very important question. A lot of people don't realize the fish food that they feed their fish are actually most of the time what kills their fish. Especially when it comes to bettas. Bettas have very sensitive stomachs. They get constipated easily, and they can die from that. The fish that I had before Americas, that's actually what happened to him. It was really, really sad. I had him in my office, and the kids would kind of come in and, can I feed your fish? But it got to kind of where anytime I was out of the office, the kids were feeding my fish. And so I came back one day, and he had a really puffy tummy, and he was just kind of moping around in the corner of the tank. And I googled what could possibly be wrong with my fish, and overfeeding will do it, not feeding them the right things. It turns out he was constipated, and he just never went to the bathroom, and he died. It was really, really sad. But so you definitely want to feed them like once a day. Their stomach is only the size of their eyeball, so keep that in mind. They don't require that much food. But I feed them omega-1 freshwater flakes for all tropical fish, just because, I do have some neon tetras in there. They have to eat too, not just the betta. So I do have tropical flakes. Omega-1 is the best thing I would recommend, because they don't have a bunch of processed crap, I guess for lack of a better word, in their fish food. For example, I'll just read some of the ingredients. Whole salmon, halibut, black cod, whole herring, whole shrimp. Never do you see fish meal, which is basically ground up fish parts put together into a little can, and that's what you serve your fish. That's not healthy. That's not going to keep them going. So you want things like omega-1. That's what I recommend. It's made with real seafood, fresh seafood. And then also I have this Zoo Med Betta Dial-A-Treat. It has bloodworms, mysis, and daphnia, which are just like bugs. These are things that bettas eat in the wild. Things that are really good for their stomach. They digest them well. So even if they are eating like a food that isn't the highest quality or something, if you give them some daphnia or mysis shrimp or bloodworms, that's going to help them pass that food easier. So I can show you guys really quick. I don't think the camera's going to be in focus. This is the omega-1. Yeah, it's horrible focus. omega-1. And then this is the ZooMed Dial-A-Treat. That's what it looks like. The different compartments are like bloodworms, mysis, and daphnia. So yeah, that is what I recommend you feed your betta. And then question 6, this is the last question I have, is how much does this cost? So a lot of people don't think that fish, especially betta fish, are expensive. But in our reality, they kind of are. And not necessarily like an ongoing cost, but the initial cost to set everything up is pretty expensive. Like I said, you want to get a good tank, especially for a betta, at least 5 gallons. And that can be about $35 if you buy a kit. This was actually a kit I got at PetSmart. It came with the filter and the lighting, and so it was 30 bucks, which is pretty good. It was on sale. You can get like 5.5 gallon tanks, I think, right now for like $30 at PetSmart, maybe a little bit more. And then the heater's probably going to run you about 10 bucks. And I have a thermometer just to monitor what the water is in case the heater goes out and I don't know. And a thermometer is probably like $2. And my betta fish, I think he was around $10. Betta fish vary in prices. They can be as low as like $5 and they can go up to like past $30. It just depends on what kind you get, how rare it is, and also where you buy it. Like I said, I got Americus at Petco, and he's really healthy fish. Yeah, and it just kind of worked out. You definitely want to kind of try to interact with the fish you're about to buy. Make sure they're responsive to movement, because if they're not, that could be a sign that they're sick or could, die soon. So just make sure you get one that's responsive to movement. That just kind of shows that they're healthy. Yeah, what else were we talking about? Oh yeah, just the cost of things. The substrate was probably about $10. I chose like a black sand. It's like National Geographic black sand. It's just kind of really pretty. I do want to put a black background up so all the green really pops. Live plants are expensive. Now, I did have like an entire planted tank, and that ran me about like 60 bucks. All the plants I had in there. Now I probably only have like $15 worth of plants in there. And so it really depends on the decor you put in, how much that's going to cost. Marimo moss balls are also really good. They absorb ammonia and all that. And that was probably about $8 or $9. So I mean, these things really do add up, but you don't have to get everything like all at one time. You can set your tank up, which is what I highly recommend you do. Let it run for at least 24 hours before you put a fish in there, just to make sure that the tank's cycled, and then add your fish. So you have a while if you just kind of want to buy